Greetings everyone, Brad here with Mild Mannered EDC. I hope you're all doing really well. Today we're going to look at a interesting knife from Kershaw. Now this isn't the newest knife in the world, but it is one that, this was a later iteration of it. This is the Kershaw Concierge. That's right, the Kershaw Concierge. And the Concierge is a, well, you can see it right there, a Sinkovich design, Dmitry Sinkovich. And Sinkovich has done some fun designs with Kershaw, with ZT as well, but obviously the Atmos, there have been others. Very cool designer. His aesthetic is very, pretty well known and pretty well liked, including by people like me. But this knife, like I said, it's a little bit older, but this one has wood scales on it. Yeah, so we're going to talk about that a little bit. So I thought we'd just do a quick review, kind of walking through this. Like I said, it's not the newest knife on the market, but then talk about the wood scales and just sort of overall how I think they did on this. Also has kind of this interesting clip, right? Okay. All right, so let's talk a few specs here before we get stuck in sort of officially. We've got a blade length here on the Concierge of 3.25 inches. It gives you a handle length of 4.25 inches, which if you add those up, you get the overall of 7.5 inches. So 7.5 inch knife overall. And then a weight of 4.03 ounces. So not the lightest weight knife out there by any stretch, which, with the wood, I was a little disappointed by that, but it's all right. Well, I thought maybe they would have thinned out the liners or something. Anyways, I don't know. We'll talk about that. This knife runs about $40, $45, depending where you can find it. And it's in different retailers. You can get the black carbon fiber version of this a bit more easily, but the wood one, you might have to do a little bit of looking around, but I saw it out there just fine. So there you go. All right. So let's talk about the blade on this Concierge. So as I mentioned, 3.25 inches. You may have seen this earlier, and when I showed you the Sinkovich, it is HCR 13 MOV steel, whatever. It's a Kershaw, kind of what do you expect? I think I've been clearer here on the channel. I'm not the biggest of steel snobs, so, it doesn't bother me. It really doesn't. I don't buy a knife like this expecting the steel to be, a $40 knife, expecting the steel to be anything, amazing. Now, that said, I know the price, the budget steel market these days on what you can get on a Civivi or maybe something else. Obviously the ubiquitous D2 or whatever else might be out there. Anyways, HCR, whatever, it's fine. All that to say, it's fine. It's fine by me anyways. It might not be for you, but it is for me. Obviously this is a Chinese made Kershaw, as many of them are. So back to what we were talking about, drop point blade, kind of some interesting designs here. Again, very, very Sinkovich looking blade design. You have this cool swedge that comes down. It is a hollow grind, which is cool. I like hollow grinds, and this one does it very well. Came very, very sharp. The grind is decent on both sides. A little better on this side than on this side. They didn't do a fantastic job here at the termination point. As you see, it sort of bleeds into sort of the blade sort of the plunge line here as it comes down. So it gets a little fatter. Since they were already kind of doing a choil, I think it would have been nice if they'd have just cleaned that off and done it. Like I know they can do it, but they kind of didn't on this one. So there you go. You also get this sort of gray painted color on this. This is a little disappointing as well. I've seen this on a couple knives. It doesn't bother me all that much. But for example, if you look at this is the Kershaw bracket, I believe. This is just a nice tumbled sort of stonewashy kind of blade. I kind of wish they'd have done that with this. I think it would have looked nicer, and I don't think it would have cost any more. I don't know. For what they were going here, I guess, maybe they felt like it churched it up a little bit to do that gray painted blade. But I'm just never a huge fan of the painted blades per se, because they just don't wear very well. But anyways.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
There you go. So, overall, decent blade. It's not anything groundbreaking from Kershaw, but it gets the job done. So there you go. That's what we've got here of the blade on the Concierge. Now, what I do enjoy about this knife, however, is that it's running on KVT ball bearings. That's right. This is not a speed assist or speed safe. This is not an assisted knife, right? This has got a very nice, well, it's got a fine KVT ball bearing action, one that I also know Kershaw can do, and I wish they would do more often, because when they do them, they do them very well, and I just wish they made that more standard, but whatever, they don't. And some people do like the speed safe.
Who are these people?
So there you go. But this one isn't assisted, which is one of the reasons it appealed to me and why I wanted to pick it up, and I'm glad they didn't do that. So as you noted, flipper liner lock here. you know, it's fine. Like I said, the action is good. It's not, wow, blow your socks off, but it's pretty darn good for 40 bucks. One of the things I'm not a huge fan of, the access to the liner lock is not great. As you can see here, there's no real cutout of any kind of variety there to help you sort of get access in there. You sort of have to jam your thumb kind of right in here. There you go. And pull it over. But it's fine. And, lockup is pretty significant. We're talking about 50%, I'd say. But I've spine whacked it a couple times, and there's no blade play or blade rock or anything like that. So, it's built very solidly. So from an action standpoint, I think it's what you'd expect from a $40 Kershaw that's running on ball bearings. So I think that's pretty nice. Now, centering, it's just a touch off to the show side, but it's not bad at all. In fact, I tightened the pivot just a touch, and it seemed to straighten it right out and has remained that way. So like I said, again, overall, the execution feels pretty good, at least in the action area for me. Okay, now let's talk about the sort of issue du jour, right? The wood scales. So they're actually pretty nice. They are wood. And what I mean by that is there is no information on what kind of wood they are, where they got it. I know a lot of places will, it's ironwood, or it's, ebony, or it's this or it's that. This is just wood. Like I said, I'm not sure what kind of wood it is. It kind of has, anyway, I'm not even going to venture to guess, but they're pretty nice. They are pretty darn nice. They finish them off well. The stain, I think, looks pretty nice. There's no real sharp edges or kind of splintery areas or areas where they didn't do it. With the exception, I don't think this is even going to show up. There's a tiny little spot, if you look inside here in this cutout for the clip, where there's a little bit look like the machining missed. I don't know if you can see that with the way the light is here. I'm sorry, but yeah. But again, super minor, and overall, like I said, pretty nice. A couple of little dings here, and I don't know if those were dings that I gave it after I got it, or if they came that way. Just chalk it up to, again, $40 knife. I'm not going to get too bent out of shape about it, but yeah. So there you go. You've got these nice wood scales, and I think they are pretty. I think they did a nice job, and I think it actually makes this knife honestly not look like a Kershaw. They do so many crazy designs these days. And I've said before, I'm a Kershaw fan, but they do so many crazy designs that, it's unusual to see something that's a bit more refined, if you will. So anyways, I like the wood. It spoke to me. It's why I picked it up. I think it's kind of neat. So, all right. Now, beyond the wood, you do have sort of these painted hardware along with a stainless steel clip, which we'll talk about in just a minute. We have an FRN backspacer, but it is kind of a full backspacer, which is pretty cool. I do like that. And then you have stainless steel liners. And those stainless steel liners are a big reason why this is a 4-ounce knife. This did not need to be a 4-ounce knife, but it is. I wish it wasn't, but it is. They made no effort to do any internal, lightening or speed, put some holes in there just to kind of lighten this whole thing up overall. They didn't really do any of that. So again, $40, whatever. I'm not going to nitpick too bad, but at the same time, come on, Kershaw. You're gonna go to the effort to do all this with the wood and all, it just would have made, anyways. All right, so that's what we've got there with the scales and hardener. Now let's talk about Ergos and Carriage. Because this is a Sinkovich design, the Ergos are very good. He designs knives. You're able to choke up a bit here, and because they botched the choil, you don't really have to worry about getting nicked. But yeah, it's the Ergos are good. They feel pretty darn nice in hand, and in fact, a big part of that is the way that they did this clip. And this is an interesting clip. I've never seen this on a Kershaw before. It is recessed in there. It would have been nice if they fully recessed this, I guess, with some flathead screws. But again, sort of the theme on this knife is almost, but sort of missed the opportunity. But you might think it doesn't slide into your pocket very well. And I've seen some reviews where people kind of balked at it. I actually found it to be quite functional and pretty nice, actually. And I'll show you here, just kind of casually. You can see, it's right. It grabs it pretty well, and then it slides right in. So overall, is it fully deep carried? No, but I don't think every knife needs to be. And this one's kind of got a nice little part sticking up there with the wood. And anyways, I think it looks pretty nice. But the clip is done really well. I like it. I don't really get the reviews out there that have problems with this clip, especially since from a hotspot standpoint, there are none. It's basically like there isn't a clip on this knife, which is pretty neat. So this is a nice touch, and I think this is an area where, you know, they took a little time and they did it right, and it worked. And as far as carry goes, I think it works pretty darn good, actually. So pretty darn well, let me say. So anyways, all right, so that's what we've got here. You know, kind of a quick review. I hope I didn't rush through this too much, but again, I don't think there's so much to say on a $40 Kershaw. But this is an interesting knife. I like it. At the same time, like I said, I feel like it's one of those where they could have gone a bit further and really made this a classy kind of, you know, wow, this is the Kershaw that you want to take out on date night or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, this is just the one that's a bit more, you know, well, somewhere you might use a concierge, right? And anyways, they just kind of missed it in a couple spots, and I wish they hadn't, because I think they were onto something here with a good design and some other things, and they with the wood and the clip and everything else, and the KVT ball bearing. I mean, there's a lot of good here, but just a few other they just didn't quite get it over the finish line, in my view. So, anyways, that's what we've got here: the Kershaw Concierge. You know, Kershaw kind of putting on the Ritz here a little bit. Not bad, not great, but, you know, maybe something you're interested in, especially if you like the look of that wood, which I did. So anyways, I hope you're doing well. Like I said, stay safe out there. Be mild-mannered to one another. All the best.